All right. Welcome, my likings. This is the King of Howls, AlmightyFenrir, and this is my first ever Howling podcast where I want to bring up anything that I feel like talking about, whether it's, real life situations, whether it's, things that's going on in the world, whether it's, video games, whether it's, anime, sports, football, basketball, boxing, anything. But this is my first ever Howling podcast that I want to do. Of course, I can't wait to get better equipment. So then, because right now I'm doing this strictly off my, PS5 and really can't, record without you seeing my face unless I have like a gang present. But it's perfectly fine because the thing that I'm going to talk about has something to do with not only this game, but this particular person that we're going to talk about. I wanted to wait until he actually got picked to see where he went, to see how far he would drop, and just to give myself more of an opportunity to give, my thoughts on a situation. I'm a type of person that when I do react to something, I like to get all the facts. I like to eloquently give my thoughts, and I don't want to just speak out of strictly emotions. I think that's one of the problems with this world. We speak out of emotion. Sometimes we don't necessarily listen. We hear, but we don't listen, and we're just ready to throw out our what we want to without actually listening. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people actually have a thought in mind and they're so ready to give their thought that they're not actually listening. So I wanted to actually get all the information and then give you my analysis and what I thought about the situation. First and foremost, I want to say congratulations to Shedeur Sanders. Congratulations to the whole Sanders family. Congratulations to Deion Sanders. And, Shedeur was just picked in, I believe, the 5th round. 144th pick. I have my my laptop in front of me right now. So, I'll be referencing this back and forth because I want to just have everything laid out in front of me. Again, this is my first little podcasting, so just, kind of bear with me and stuff like that. Again, congratulations to the whole Sanders family. Hopefully Shiloh gets picked up and they turn the NFL upside down. I'm going to go straight in. The NFL has a problem. And not only do they have a problem, they have a black man problem. And I never wanted to be the type of person who leads with race. If you know any of my friends, they would tell you I am not the type of black guy that goes around talking about race and racism a lot, because I do feel like, especially in the black community, we have a lot to fix within ourselves, and we cannot expect people on the outside to respect us or love us or any type of thing like that if we do not do that with ourselves and each other. So when we talk about things that happens in the black community, a lot of it attributes to us ourselves, how we conduct ourselves, how we treat one another, and just how we go about things. And I've always been the person, especially that gets flack from my black friends, who I love dearly. But we go back and forth because a lot of times I attribute a lot of black failures to ourselves. Not being oblivious that there are other works at hand that keep us lower and not put us where we are supposed to be, because I always know there's other factors in the background that keep us where we're at. But I also believe that we do not help ourselves in a lot of situations. But by saying that, I think that the NFL has a problem. This is the Colin Kaepernick problem all over again. And the NFL, every so once in a while, reminds you that this is our league. And when I say our league, I mean the white man's league. And again, if you knew who I was, and if you knew my friends, they'd be shocked, because they'd be like, he talking about race and he ain't talking like black people are the problem. In this situation, I almost dropped my controller. In this situation, the NFL is showing you that they do not. They're showing you that there is a glass ceiling. And the first thing that people do who do not look like me is remind you of, well, that can't be the problem. That can't be the case because, well, look at this guy. Well, look at this guy. Well, this guy was picked here. Well, so that two things can be right and two things can be factual. It is factual that there are black faces of teams in the NFL. There's the fact there are black players who have been in commercials. There are facts that there are black quarterbacks. There are facts that there is a black quarterback being taken number 1 overall in the NFL. Those are all facts. But that does not take away the fact of how black quarterbacks have been treated. And people who do not look like me always say, well, what you're saying can't be true. And the one that they always like to use is, why do you guys bring race into everything? And my answer would be, race is in everything. And if you don't see that, it's because you are privileged not to see race. I was one of the first people to say that race has nothing to do with where you live, how much money you get, and how far you get in life. And to a point, that's true. But you would be stupid and naive to think that race does not play a part in some way or fashion. Well, the NFL can't be racist. There's black quarterbacks everywhere. Okay. If you look up the history of the NFL, that will tell you otherwise. Because people act like in every facet of this world, people try to keep black people out of it. So when you sit here and you tell me, well, why do they always bring race into it? Because in every situation, race has played a part in it. There was a point in time where they actually said that you were too stupid to play the quarterback position. Let me say this again. There was a point in time where they actually said, if you are black, you are too stupid to play the quarterback position. They said, you do not have the mental capacity to play quarterback. So even if you were good, they would not let you play. So when you say, oh, well, why they always bring race? Because they have shown you that race has played a part in it. So then you'll say, well, that was a long time ago. They letting quarterbacks play now. But you can't forget where it started. You can continue to move forward. I've always been a person that tells people move forward. But you can't forget where it started. And a person like me, I always like to bring analogies and you know hypotheticals. So let me share one with you right now. Why do you think, and this ain't even just black people, why do you think so many people are that don't like to go to the doctors? We all know if you need help physically with your health, you go to the doctor's office. But why don't a lot of people go to the doctor's office, even if they feel like they are sick or anything like that? Why don't they? It's because in the past, and even not even a long time ago, you went somewhere fully thinking that this place and entity had your best interest at hand. And in the beginning, you believed them. You took the medicine, you followed their orders, because you thought they knew best and you guys wouldn't hurt me. And then you find out, time after time after time after time, you've been lied to. They told you you were sick, you weren't sick. They told you you needed surgery, you didn't need surgery. They told you to take this medicine, you didn't need this medicine. They told you that this was medicine, it wasn't medicine. They told you this was a vaccine, and it had been tested, and it's approved. And it wasn't a vaccine that was approved and that was not tested. So now you have plenty of people who, even if are sick, do not take medicine, do not take pills, and do not follow the orders of the doctors. Why? Because you have been lied to before. So even if now they say, hey, that's the past, there's a lot of people that say, yeah, but people have died off your prescriptions and have said to take this and that and have come off worse than some people who have not taken anything. It is 2025 right now, March 26. 5 years ago, we had a pandemic, an outbreak, COVID-19. People were getting sick. People were losing their lives. Serious outbreak. There was a vaccine put together and they told you, hey, We got a vaccine. Take this, you'll be good. And then people took it, and in fact, they weren't good. They said, take this. This will stop you from getting it. And people still got it. They said, this has been FDA approved, and in fact, it was not approved. They said, take this, and if you don't, you cannot work, and you can't do all this. And in fact, they said, oh no, we never told you that you couldn't go to work. And in fact, you did tell us we couldn't go to work. So there has been a history of you lying to us. So this isn't even a black issue. This is a people issue that you have continuously lied to us in our face and have told us this is that and it was not. So now you have people that are, no matter what color you are, do not trust a place where you're supposed to trust. What up, Win? So that's not even a black and white. That's not even a black issue. That's a people issue. And I'm pretty sure you can understand that. Appreciate it, Win. So the analogy that I'm using is that just because someone tells you that they're not doing wrong, you have shown me a pattern and a history that you have done wrong, that you have lied to me, and that I'm not going to trust you with everything. I might trust you with some things, and not for the people who even trust you at all now. I'll trust you with a little bit, but I'm not trusting you with everything, knowing that you guys have lied to me in my face. Now, going back to the NFL, they have told you that you were too stupid to play the position. That's a racist remark. Then when you became undeniable and you led college programs, they said, well, that style is not good enough to win. And then you go to the NFL and they say, well, that worked in college. That's not going to work in the NFL. So even if you were good or great at that position, they forced you to change when you got to the NFL. There are a lot of quarterbacks that were good to great in college, and they switched you to play wide receiver. They made you play tight end. They made you play running back. Because they said your style is not good enough to play this style, to play in our sport, to play in our league. And then once you became undeniable again, well, that style will win you a Super Bowl. That style won't win you an MVP. And yet and still, that same style is not only active and prevalent in the NFL today, it is played by blacks, whites, and any other race of players that play this position. Not only that, that style of play has won offensive MVPs. It has won MVPs. It has won Super Bowls and has won Super Bowl MVP. So when you tell me and people that look like me that not only do people that look like me are not smart enough to play this position, good enough to play this position, good enough to win at this position, good enough to win a Super Bowl in this position, good enough to be a Hall of Fame at this position, and each and every time I prove you wrong, you don't expect me to think that there's still some type of racism in there? I say that this is a Colin Kaepernick situation all over again because say what you want about the kneeling, the fist in the air, because that's a whole nother topic that I could possibly get on. But I'll say this. Regardless of how you felt about him personally, he never killed anybody. He never robbed anybody. He wasn't beating on his girl. He did nothing legally wrong. So however you feel about him, if he did nothing legally wrong, what's the issue? Not to mention, again, if you don't like him, let's take out the whole fist raising, all that type of stuff. Let's take that out. Let's talk strictly football. Colin Kaepernick's style, along with RG3, Russell Wilson, and Cam Newton, revolutionized the way that the NFL is being played today. Colin Kaepernick played in the Super Bowl. Cam Newton has played in the Super Bowl. Russell Wilson has played in the Super Bowl. So that style can get you to the NFL, and it can get you to the Super Bowl. When Colin Kaepernick was at his superpowers and his height, he had a great offensive line. He had a great head coach, had a great run game, had great weapons on offense, had a great defense. And just like that, he lost his head coach, lost a lot of his weapons on offense, he lost a lot of his weapons on defense. Again, say what you want about Colin Kaepernick, but he was still very productive, even with all the transition and turmoil surrounding the 49ers at that point in time. And then you bench him for people that were way worse than him. Cool. Whatever. Free agent. Somebody will pick me up. If you want to sit there and say that he is no longer good enough to start, I disagree. The numbers would suggest that is untrue. But even if you say that, he is not good enough to start for 32 teams. And there are 32 quarterbacks better than him. You're trying to tell me that there are 64 quarterbacks better than him? You're telling me Colin Kaepernick, when he was still playing, that he wasn't good enough to be a backup? Colin Kaepernick. I don't give a damn if you said he can't throw. He ain't got good accuracy. Most backup quarterbacks are fucking trash. And they get contract after contract after contract after contract after contract. And then played a lick of meaningful football. So even if you sit there and say he's not a good starter, you mean to tell me to have as a backup, you don't want a quarterback that is taking you to the Super Bowl? Or taking a team to the Super Bowl? But yet and still, I see quarterbacks that are taking time and time again Back up to back up to back up to back up to back up. Trash. But been in the league for 10, 12, 15 years. Trash. Starter gets injured. Hey, come in, give us some meaningful minutes. Maybe play a game or two until our starter gets back. And he is god awful. And somehow still gets another job. And Colin Kaepernick couldn't? So right there, you're telling me this is not a football thing. Because if we kept it strictly football, because you guys said let's not put race in it. Cool. This is AlmightyFenrir not bringing race into it. There is no way that you're going to tell me that 64 quarterbacks are better than Colin Kaepernick. Even today, there are not 64 quarterbacks better than Colin Kaepernick. Today. And we're keeping it strictly football. But when you got the people who don't look like me making decisions for people who do look like me, they are going to not only take your football stuff into account, and they tell you all we're taking is the stuff that you do on the field. But they're not. Because if it was, you cannot articulately tell me why Colin Kaepernick isn't at least a backup. Some of you will say, oh, and you'll talk about off the field stuff because you guys told me, yeah, no, let's just keep it on the field. But when you talk about Colin Kaepernick, the first thing you're going to tell me is off the field stuff. But yet and still, this is the same league who have people who was employed, who have murders, who have manslaughter, who have had racist remarks still employed. And Kaepernick didn't do none of that. Now, let's go to Shedeur. If you were to tell me, and the reason why I got this up, Shedeur Sanders was rated a 95 in college football. Okay? The highest you can be rated in most Madden games and NCAA games is a 99. As a quarterback, out of all the quarterbacks, and this is just NCAA, video game, right? He's the number one quarterback at a 95. Why am I bringing this up? Even though it's a video game, and you don't even have to take these things into real consideration, the thought of at least the people in video game land is that he is the best. So the reason why I'm pointing this out is because even in video game land, they had him as the highest rated quarterback. Now, in real life, not my opinion, facts, he won the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award. He was AP's second team All-American. He was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. He was first team Big 12. Last year alone, he went 9-4 for a program that was dirt trash. Dirt trash. Who ain't seen a bowl game in over a decade. He throws for 4,134 yards and 37 touchdowns to only 10 interceptions. Off 74%. Okay. So that is facts. First team Big 12. Offensive Player of the Year Big 12. Second team All-American. Johnny Unitas Award. 4,000 yards passing. 37 touchdowns. 74% accuracy, which led all FBS, not just led Colorado, not just led the Big 12, but if you play D1 football, he was the most accurate of all the quarterbacks in college football. Not to mention, he breaks school records for only being there for 2 years. That's a fact. That is not my opinion. That is a fact. Not to mention also, factually, he played behind one of the worst O-lines in football, with one of the worst running games in football, with one of the worst defenses in football. Still got you 9-4. Still had one of the best accuracies in football. Still threw for 4,000 yards. Still threw for 37 touchdowns. Still was second team All-American. Still was Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Still was Big 12 first team Big 12. That is not my opinion. Those are the facts. Factually speaking, when you are picked in the top of the NFL draft, you are 9 times out of 10 going to one of the worst situations in football. That's why you're getting picked so high. Because you're going to one of the worst teams in football. Why are they picking you? Because they believe you can resurrect their team and move them forward. Okay? We've seen the NFL time and time again take people who play great college football for great teams, come to their place and fail. Why? Well, 9 times out of 10, you're taking a guy who played really great football, but he also played with the best weapons, the best coach, the best defense, the best offense, the best talent. When you go to the NFL, you're 9 times out of 10 going to the worst team with the worst coach, with the worst weapons, with the worst defense, with the worst offense. So now you're telling a guy who was playing with the best available to play with the worst and say, fix it. And 9 times out of 10, they fail. Because they have never been put in a position where they had to elevate talent. Tim Tebow played with some fire-ass talent. Matt Leinart played with some fire-ass talent. Jameis Winston played with some fire-ass talent. But time and time and time again, these first round, not only just first round, but these top picks fizzle out because they've never been in this situation where they have to elevate talent, and that is what your quarterback is supposed to do. Elevate the talent around him. And you are time and time again hoping, because what you've seen in college, he could possibly do in the NFL. But the one thing that Shedeur Sanders has over most quarterbacks that are picked high in a draft, he didn't play with the best talent. He didn't play with the best O-line. He didn't have the best running game. He didn't have the best defense. And he still got them better than they have almost ever been in a long time. And still put up great numbers. So he, in fact, is showing you in real time, hey, if you pick me, not only does my talent speak for itself, but I have actually shown you I can take shit and make it gold. Most quarterbacks have not shown you that. Most of them play with good talent, and you are picking them strictly off talent. He not only has the talent, but he has actually shown you, I'm playing with trash around me. I don't have a first round running back. I don't have a first round O lineman. I don't have a first round wide receiver. I don't have a first round defense. And I'm still second team All-American. I'm still giving you the best accuracy in football. I'm still throwing for 4,000 yards. I still threw for 37 touchdowns. And he's doing this with the worst. And we're not talking about the NFL where even if you play for the worst team, you at least got some elite talent, because if you play for like the Browns or, back in my day was Detroit that sucked, the Browns, the Panthers, at least you got some elite talent because you were still picking in the top 5 every year. So you got some elite talent. In college football, the chances of you landing an elite talent coming from a trash program, 0. Ain't nobody going to Colorado when you got Alabama and Texas and Clemson. You're not going to Colorado. You don't get to choose where you go in the NFL. You have a choice to go to Colorado. So if you're telling most of these kids where you want to go to school, they saying, man, send me to LSU. Send me to Bama. Send me to a top-tier team where I'm going to get noticed and where everybody lives and breathes football. Send me to Texas. Nobody going to freaking Colorado. But Deion, Shiloh, and Shedeur, and go there and change the whole program. That is what you're banking on your quarterback to do in the NFL. The Browns suck. Here, let me give you somebody. Change the program. The Saints suck. Here, let me bring somebody to change the program. The Steelers suck. Okay, let me get. That is the job of not only your first rounder, but more importantly, your quarterback, is to change the program. And you are hoping that they can do that, because 9 times out of 10, your top talent is coming from one of the best situations. But in this situation, this guy is not only coming from one of the worst situations, still putting up elite numbers. And again, we are talking strictly on the field. Now, again, I told you guys about analogies. And I told you about like hypotheticals. So here we go with another one. Say, for instance, you're a guy. And let's say you're a black guy. Matter of fact, let's use me. Let's say, for instance, I walk up to a girl and I say, hey, my name is, Almighty. Insert whatever your name is. Hey, I'm blah, blah, blah. I seen you from across the way. I thought you was cute. And can I get your Instagram or can I get your number? Maybe we can get a cup of coffee. Maybe we can, get a bite to eat. I want to get to know you a little better or whatever. I see that you're kind of busy working out or, shopping or whatever. But, I just want to get to know you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? She then turns around and says, no thanks. I don't like men. I think you're cute, but I don't like men. Never have. You say, my bad, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I think you're beautiful, I think you're gorgeous. But yeah, I didn't know. Sorry for taking up your time. You walk away. Say you met her at a gas station or the supermarket or something, right? She tells you, I don't like men. And she also says, I don't like blank men, whether that's black, white, Mexican, Asian, whatever, right? Apply this to whatever race you are. She says she don't like men and your race, right? 2 minutes later, not only do you see her talking with a man, she's talking to the same exact man that she said she don't like, that's your race. She's flirting with him. She gives him her number, her Instagram, her whatever, her contact information. And she's saying, don't forget to call me and all this other stuff. She is interested in that guy. What are you going to think? Now, inserting myself into this situation. When you first told me that you didn't like me, I took you for your word. No harm, no foul. Not everybody's gonna like this. I think I'm a good looking dude. But guess what? Not everybody thinks so. And guess what? That's fine. And I respect it because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. When everybody looks at me, they're not gonna see a handsome man. And guess what? More power to you. But then when you sit there and you tell me, not only do you not like my gender, but you don't like my race, and then literally 2 minutes, I say you talking to my race and my gender? You just sat there, bold-faced, lied to me. You told me that there was something wrong with me that I cannot change. And I respected it because, again, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But then you go for the same exact thing that you just told me you did not like. She would be, in fact, hypocritical and wrong. Not wrong because she didn't want me. Because, again, not everybody gonna want me. But you're wrong for not only lying to me, being a hypocrite, but telling me that you don't like men, me, or my race and go for another man that look like me or even worse looking than me? When you could have just kept it real and said, hey, I don't like you. Because as much as that probably would have hurt my feelings, you at least kept it real with me and said you don't like me. Why do I bring up that situation? I was on Instagram and people were talking about, yeah, Shedeur, he's getting humbled. He's getting humbled. That's what you get for not being that good, not having that strong of an arm, for being cocky. And again, you are free to have those assumptions about me. While they might not be true, you are free to have those assumptions. Just like she might not think I'm handsome, even though I think I'm handsome, she is free to have those assumptions. Here's where the hypocrisy comes in. You said, oh, well, on the field, Shedeur Sanders doesn't have a strong arm, doesn't have a cannon. Okay, you can feel that way. But then there's quarterbacks like Drew Brees who didn't have a strong arm. You have people like Tom Brady who did not have a strong arm. You have people like Russell Wilson who did not have a strong arm. You have people like E.J. Manuel who did not have a strong arm. You have people like Kenny Pickett who did not have a strong arm. You have people like, hold on. What's bro's name? I'm about to bring up the draft right now. You have people like Tyler Show, which I'm going to get on his ass, who did not have a strong arm. You got people like the quarterback that was taken above him. Where is he at? Where is he at? Dylan Gabriel, who did not have a strong arm. So I'm showing you, not only are there some past greats who did not have a strong arm, have showed you that they can win, you have taken people in front of me who don't have a strong arm. So if you don't think that I have a strong arm, that's fine. But then you go pick people who don't have a strong arm? Oh, well, you know, he holds on to the ball too long. Okay? When people talk, they always talk and leave certain things out to make their point. Because if they were to tell everything, it would make their point disingenuous. They do this all the time with LeBron. Oh, well, look at all the all-stars that LeBron played with. Look, he played with Shaq. He played with D-Rose. He played with Kevin Love. He played with Dwight. He played all 70. Dwight Howard was no longer the Dwight Howard we knew. D-Rose was no longer the D-Rose we knew. Kevin Love was no longer the Kevin Love we knew. All these players you talk about were not in their primes when they played with LeBron. But you will, to further your point on why you feel like Jordan is better than him, you will tell me that LeBron played with all this talent, but almost all of them were out their primes. But you'll say that he played with an all-league performer to prove your point that LeBron James can't win even when he played with an all NBA performer, but you will not add that when he had them, they were almost out the league, injury prone, or not good. You failed to put that in there. But you gloss over that to prove your point. Shedeur holds on to the ball too long. Why? Because bro had no fucking real receivers. He had no O-line. So the moment, have y'all ever played Madden and played quarterback and you put everybody on the block and still the fucking D lineman just comes in there screaming? That is what happened to Shedeur in real time. He's holding on to the ball because he's waiting for his receivers to get open so he can make a play. Because you guys also say, well, he's a check down merchant. So if he's trying to throw the deep ball, you get mad at him because he's holding on to the ball because receivers can't get off a fucking block and they can't get past nobody, and he's waiting for them to get open. Then you crucify him when he throws the short check down because that's available to him and it's open. He can't win. I'm trying to throw the deep shit, it ain't open. So I throw the check down or I throw a screen. But yet and still, you guys are the same people who talk about Brock Purdy and how he's a top 10 quarterback. And that's almost all he did. But there's still some people who would tell you that he's the top 10, and some will even say he's in the 6, 7 range. And at one point, y'all was saying he was top 5. This is not me just ranting. This is me holding a mirror up to all you guys, showing you guys that you are telling me one thing and you are showing me something else. So you said he don't have the arm talent, yet and still, there's a lot of people in NFL who don't have a big ass arm. And in the NFL, just because you got a strong arm, so what? If it ain't got no accuracy on there, who cares? I love me some Cam, but a lot of y'all killed him because he had no accuracy. Tim Tebow had a strong ass arm. He never was accurate. I used to be a diehard Raider fan. Jamarcus Russell had a cannon. No accuracy. Michael Vick, cannon. No accuracy. Why do I care if you have a cannon? Because somebody told you that you listened to told you in order to be a successful quarterback, you got to have a cannon. But I've seen time and time again with guys who don't have a strong arm. Jalen Hurts, don't have a strong arm, successful. Geno Smith, not a strong arm, successful. Jared Goff, not a strong arm, successful. You have shown me time and time again, not only can you be winning this league, you can be successful in this league. I don't need my quarterback to be this uber athletic guy because y'all talked about Shedeur Sanders' athleticism. Last time I checked, Peyton Manning wasn't athletic. Tom Brady wasn't athletic. Drew Brees wasn't athletic. Troy Aikman wasn't athletic. A lot of these quarterbacks, Goff, not athletic. A lot of quarterbacks that are playing today are not super uberly athletic. What they can do is when the defense gives them an opening, take what the defense gives them with their feet. And I've seen Shedeur time after time after time do this at Colorado and at Jackson State. Is he going to run a fucking 4.2 40 or 4.3 or 4.4 40? No. But neither does Joe Burrow. But neither does Patrick Mahomes. But what they do is when they see an opening, they're going to take it. Shedeur Sanders could easily do that and has done that. So you talk about he doesn't have a strong arm. You talk about he holds the ball too long without context. You said that he doesn't have the athleticism, but he has just as much athleticism as the average quarterback in the NFL. Now, not only did you tell me that, and there have been past players who has just the same amount as his athleticism, or worse, let's talk present day. If you were to tell me that we believe that Cam Ward is the best quarterback in this draft, while I don't think so, I'll say cool. He has this cannon for an arm. He played at Miami, which, to let you guys all know, Miami is my favorite team. So let's not make it seem like I'm a hating person. Miami has been my favorite team since the beginning, since the Ray Lewis, since the Ed Reeds, since the Sean Taylors. They have been my favorite team. So okay. If you tell me that Cam Ward is the best quarterback, fine. If that is your cup of tea, fine. No problem, no shade. But at best, Shedeur is the second best quarterback in football. You told me you don't want Shedeur because he doesn't have a strong arm. But then you take Tyler, I believe his name is, from Louisville, who don't got a strong arm. Then you take Gabriel, who don't have a strong arm. So if you don't want, again, let's go back to the girlfriend situation. This goes back to the situation. If you don't want me, fine. But don't tell me you don't want me and then go pick me or worse than me. Just keep it real and say, I don't want you. If you tell me I don't want Shedeur, fine. Fine. Not everybody gotta like you. But if you tell me I don't want him because he don't got a strong arm, and then I go pick a guy who got the same type of arm strength as you, or worse than you, now you're playing in my face. Now it's personal. Because now you're saying I don't like you. Even though you told me, it's not you, I just don't like your arm. But then you pick another guy who arm is not as strong as mine or as strong as mine. So you lied there about arm strength. Arm talent. Accuracy. I am the most accurate quarterback in football. There's me and then everyone else. So first you tell me you don't like my arm strength, but then pick people who with worse arm strength. Then you say, well, the arm talent isn't there, but I led the league in accuracy. Then you pick Jalen Monroe, who may have a strong arm, but accuracy is shit. And guess what? I like Jalen Monroe. I feel like, and I've been saying before, he put in the right situation could be the next Lamar Jackson. Because guess what? People might now be talking about how good Lamar Jackson is, but there was a point in time when that man went to the end of the first round, and even before that, people were saying, well, if he comes to the league, he got to play running back or wide receiver. So all of y'all might act like y'all like him now, but there was a point in time when you said, no, that not good enough to play in our league. That got to play wide receiver. That got to play running back. That ain't playing quarterback. Then still he's won 2 MVPs. And now all of a sudden, now y'all like him at quarterback. Now he a top quarterback. But if it was up to you guys, some of you guys, and a lot of the people who own teams, he wouldn't even be playing quarterback. Now there's a generation of players who play just like Lamar. So this is not no hate to Jalen Monroe, because I think Jalen Monroe, in the right situation, could be the next Lamar. And in speaking in right situations, ain't no quarterback. I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, none of them would be as good as they was if they weren't put in the right situation. All of them need the right coach, the right culture, the right pieces to be successful. Because Tom Brady does not become Tom Brady if he's not playing with Bill Belichick. Why? Because Tom Brady wasn't even Tom Brady when he came into the league. He relied heavily on the defense. Peyton Manning does not become Peyton Manning without the likes of a Marshall Faulk in the backfield. That was helping him. The running back was helping the quarterback. Without an Edgerrin James, without a Marvin Harrison, without a Reggie Wayne, without a Dallas Clark, without a Tony Dungy, he does not become who he is. Patrick Mahomes y'all talk about Patrick Mahomes now, but go back to them drafts. And not only them drafts, where was he picked? He wasn't the first overall pick. Not only that, the same Chiefs fans that celebrate him now, when they said, and with the first overall, in the first the whatever pick, I was the 15th pick in the first round, the Kansas City Chiefs select Patrick Mahomes, quarterback, Texas Tech. It wasn't like people were like, yeah, we got him. They fuck, no, y'all didn't even know what y'all had. But he went to the right situation with an offensive mind guru in Eric Reed. I believe his name is Reed. Whatever. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Every quarterback has to go to the right situation. There's not going to be a quarterback that outperforms the situation. Because Matt Stafford has always been Matt Stafford. Played for a shit organization with a shit team, and all he had was fucking Megatron. You put him in a stable situation with a good team, a good defense, and a good surrounding. He wins the Super Bowl the very next year. Quarterbacks, unlike any other position, needs a lot to go right. Because if not, they are as good as the pieces around them. So you told me my arm strength wasn't there, but yet still you pick people who have just the same or worse arm strength. Then you say the arm talent is not there, but then there's people who have super strong arms with no accuracy, and then you pick them. Not to mention, I have the best accuracy in football. Then you say, oh, well, he holds the ball too long. Yet still, with holding the ball too long. And remember, this is with him holding the ball too long. Even me holding the ball too long, I still go 9-4. I still play for a trash organization. I still get them to 9-4. I still throw for 4,000 yards. I still lead the league in accuracy, and I still throw 37 touchdowns with me holding the ball too long. Now, what is a head coach supposed to do? A good head coach is supposed to coach. He is supposed to take what you do bad, minimize it, and take what you do well and highlight that. Not to mention, they always say with good coaching, they can help him find out the things that he does bad. So even if you say he's holding on, that's a coaching, that the coach is supposed to help you with that. When you draft a quarterback, I don't give a damn how good he is in college. You are taking what you feel like he has already, and with some help, with better pieces, and with your coaching, can bring out an even better version of what you see him at now. He is not supposed to stay the same. Nobody is. When you pick a player, he is supposed to get better with coaching, with time. Why do you think people don't grade rookies that harshly sometimes? Because they said he's a rookie. He's learning. I don't care if you play 4 or 5 years in college. You're playing a whole new game. Yes, it's still a football. Yellow still touchdown. But college football and pro football is totally different. You have to adjust. And the coach is now saying, yes, I know you did this here, but this is how we're going to do it here. Coaching matters. But what you guys are basically telling me is that you guys don't want your coaches to coach. Crazy, isn't it? You don't want your coaches to coach. And it's more inevitable because the things that you see even outside of football. Back in the day, when you wanted to be a musician, you had to have talent. You had a good range. You had a good voice. You had good lyrics. And then a label would sign you because you had talent, but they said, hey, we're going to work with you in the studio. We're going to get you better off the talent that you already have. We're going to increase the light on you, bring you into a masses of people, and we're going to help you. We're going to market you. We're going to help you, but we see the talent. We're going to make that better. We're going to work with you, and then we're going to put you out there. Labels don't do that now. Labels are not there to help you no more. Labels back then took a raw prospect, took them to singing classes, took them to voice training, took them, and they helped you, and then they coached you, and then they don't do that now. You have to come in with a good voice. You have to come in with sales. And then they piggyback off that, and they want a percentage off what you are. That's why they say now you don't even need a label. Because they don't do a lot of work no more. They're not helping their artists like they used to. So basically what you guys are saying is that you don't want your coaches to coach, because if you seen something in a quarterback and you said, even with this bad stuff here, there's so much more good stuff that outweigh that bad, we can coach him out of this bad stuff. But even if you say that this is bad with Shedeur, his bad is still very minimal to what you're saying is good from everybody else. So it's not that you're not taking Shedeur. It's the fact that who you're taking over Shedeur is worse than Shedeur. So again, we got the arm talent, we got the accuracy, we got the holding of the ball, and you still put up better numbers with people who have better talent, better arm strength, better talent overall around him, better head coaches that have been doing it way longer than Deion, because Deion's only been a head coach in the FBS for 2 years. He have had people who are been in the head coaches for 5, 10 years, multiple years. He had outperformed them on the field. So it's not the point that you're not taking Shedeur. It's the fact that you're not taking Shedeur and you're taking somebody else who is worse than Shedeur. And you told me that you didn't like all this stuff in Shedeur, but then you take another guy who's worse. Shedeur's 23. He's not supposed to stay the same at 23. At 24, he's supposed to be better than he's 23. At 25, he's supposed to be better than he's 24. At 26, he's supposed to be better. He's supposed to get better and better and better every year. And the younger you are, the more time I have with you potentially. He's 23. You draft a dude out of Louisville, not the Browns, but I forgot what team. Hold on. The New Orleans Saints, who a lot of people had penciled in to go to New Orleans with Shedeur. You take Tyler. So many things wrong with this pick. First of all, bro is 25. About to be 26 in September. Meaning actively while he's on your team, he'll be a 26-year-old rookie. So right there, you have less time with him. He's 6'5". Y'all like tall quarterbacks. Oh, yes, look. 6'5". Trash. So you say you don't like Shedeur's athleticism. You say you didn't like Shedeur's accuracy. You said Shedeur holds on to the ball too long, and you say he doesn't have a strong arm. Yet still, you pick a dude who's older than him, who I know for a fact ain't faster than him, literally is Uncle Rico incarnate. Bro is in a literal football game, running for his life. And no bullshit. He has the ball running away, and I kid you not, throws the ball like an N1 mixtape. Bro is running for his life, sees the defense behind him, and pulls one of these. What? The Saints seen that and said, that's him. We need that. We need that. At 25? You doing that? Bro, if I was the head coach of Louisville, bro, you're stripping right there. You are catching an Uber back to the hotel, and you are paying your own ticket to fly back home. Ain't no way you playing for me and you throw the ball at 25. You're supposed to be smarter than a 22-year-old, 23-year-old, a 21-year-old. You're supposed to be smarter than that. Not to mention, bro didn't play for 3 teams. He didn't just play for Louisville. Bro played for 3 other fucking teams. And all of them are rated higher than Colorado. So he had better talent. He had better talent. The record was worse. The passing numbers are worse. The touchdowns are worse. And the turnovers are more egregious. And you still pick that. I'm just waiting for somebody to make some sense of this. If you tell me that Shedeur is not the first quarterback taken, fine. When, what was that quarterback that was taken last year? Hold on, because he was the only one taken in the first round last year. I'm brain farting right now. Hold on. In the first round, no, it wasn't last year. It was the year before last. Now, if you're telling me in the draft, no, it wasn't the year before last either. It was 2002 draft. All right. If you're telling me in this draft there's only one quarterback taken in the first round, and his name is Kenny Pickett. If you're telling me he's the only quarterback taken, fine, no problem. Because what you're telling me is no other quarterback is worthy of a first round pick. Fine, I might not agree with it, but what you're telling me is there is no other quarterback worthy of a first round pick. I'm okay. If Ward was the only quarterback taken in the first round, while I think Shedeur is a first round quarterback, I would understand that no other teams were looking for a quarterback. And then I would say, well, I don't agree. I understand. But that's not what happened. Ward, in fact, was not the only quarterback taken in the first round. And all the traits that you're talking about that you said that Shedeur lacked or didn't have did not prevent him from putting up better numbers, better statistics, better records than a lot of people that you picked in front of him. That's the problem. But going back to this Tyler dude. So, bro throws the football like a fucking frisbee in a game. And y'all say, yep, that's the QB of the future right there. I'm like, wait, what? But that ain't even the bad part. As much as that is terrible, that ain't even the worst part. That was in the game. So now, let's say, for instance, I am a team who needs a quarterback. And Ward is taking off the bench. Ward is taking off already. I'm not getting Ward. So I say, let me go to the draft. Let me see what's out there. And I know this kid threw the ball like a fucking hot potato, but that was in a game. Maybe he didn't trust his weapons. Maybe he didn't trust his O-line. Let me see what bro does with no O-line, with no D-line, with no incoming rush, with no incoming pressure. Let me see how bro throws. I kid you not. With pressure, bro throws the ball like this. Like, you know how you like shoo away like a cat or something on your front? He threw the ball like that in a game. With no helmet, with no shoulder pads, in shorts, with no incoming defense, with no O-line that he has to look over, even though he's 6'5". Bro throws the most awkward pass I've ever seen somebody throw with no incoming defense. Bro, he take a step back and this. I don't know what the fuck, bro. I'm like, wait, no way. He did it twice? So bro in the game could throw like this and y'all like, cool. Then he goes to the combine, which y'all said, well, that's another reason why Shedeur. There's a lot of first round people who have first round grades who skipped the combine. Shedeur ain't the first one. There's a lot of people who are going first round in the top 5 picks, which he was supposed to go in. Because, and that's another reason why I bring up this video game thing, is because at the end of the year, there was a consensus. At the end of the year, the top 2 quarterbacks was Shedeur and Ward. It wasn't Gabriel, it wasn't Monroe, it wasn't Ewers, it wasn't Dart. It was Shedeur and Ward. So that's another reason I'm bringing this up, because at the end of the year, there was a consensus that the top 2 quarterbacks were Shedeur and Ward. It was more of a question, it wasn't a question of, well, is there another quarterback in there? It was more of a consensus as, okay, Shedeur can go anywhere to 3, to the Giants, to 9, to the Saints, or to 21 to the Steelers. It wasn't even a question of him dropping out of the first round. I mean, getting picked in the first round. It was more of a question of where he was going to get picked in the first round. Somehow, the position where it matters the most is game film. Not what you do with with his shorts, and because I don't give a fuck how you look, and you run a 40. Because Jay Rice didn't run a fast 40. Michael Irvin didn't run a fast 40, but nobody caught him. Nobody fucking caught him. Then you got people who like fucking John Ross and Tavon Austin, who were fast as fuck, boy, and didn't do shit in the NFL. So I don't care how fast you are. I want to know how good you are. And especially the quarterback, I don't give a damn how fast you are or even how strong your arm is. I care about from the neck up, decision making. And when you are the number 1 in accuracy, that means that you make the best decisions. Period. But again, somehow they didn't care about the tape. Because the tape told you, if not the top 3 or top 5, at least the first rounder. And that's why it was so egregious when he fell out the whole first round. Then you say, cool, fell off the first round. Dart somehow, when football was no longer being played, rose up the draft board. And some of y'all said, well, that happens all the time. Cool. Never have I seen a quarterback have a first round grade without injury and without getting in legal trouble fall from the first round to the fucking 5th round. Well, you know, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson. Lamar was picked in the first round and was a Heisman winner, and it was picked number 32. Aaron Rodgers was projected to go number 1. Now, did he drop? Yes. But he was still picked in the first round. 9 times out of 10, if you have a first round grade, at best, you're falling into the second round. And I've seen a lot of people who have first round grades get into some type of legal trouble, whether it's like, you know, smoking, DUI, you know, abuse in some type of form or fashion. That's why they fall out. Cool. No abuse, no drinking, no driving, no weed, no drugs, not getting arrested. First round talent, top 5, 5th round. Makes no sense. Have never seen it done ever. And if you have, please let me know. What guy have you ever seen be graded, have a first round grade, second team All-American, led the nation in QB percentage, have a first, not a 4th round grade, not a 3rd round, had a first round grade when football was said and done. He had a first round grade because people were projecting him to the Giants, to the Saints, and to the Steelers. That is factual. Because I know there's some, I'll say, well, there's been plenty of people who put up great numbers and still went to Case Keenum. Trust me, I know. Case Keenum never had a first round grade on him. One of my favorite quarterbacks growing up, Colt Brennan, RIP to Colt Brennan, didn't have a first round grade on him. Shedeur, when the season was over, not while it was still going, when the season was over, he was rated the 2nd quarterback, if not the best. He was rated number 2. He was graded as high as 3 and as low as 21. Fall out the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th rounds. I haven't even brought up the off the field stuff yet, which I'm going to. I'm talking about strictly on the field. If you don't think that I'm good and I'm not a good quarterback, fine, cool, I'll accept it. But then do not in turn pick everybody worse than me in better situations than me. They were in better situations but did worse than me. With less talent around. With more coaching prestige. I had less coach prestige, less players, perhaps for more yards, more touchdowns, on better accuracy. That's the problem. The problem is that you guys are hypocritical. And that's just all the on-field stuff. Now let's go to the unjustifiable stuff that you guys put on him off the field. He's arrogant. He thinks too highly of himself. He's entitled. What? First of all, again, when you are a top pick in the NFL, and even worse, when you are a top pick in the NFL and you are a quarterback, you are again going to, if not the worst, one of the worst situations in football. If I'm owning a team, I damn sure want you to come with some fucking arrogance. I want you to come in there with some moxie because I'm looking for you, particularly you, to change the narrative of my team. If my team sucks, I want the next person that comes in and says, you know what? I'm about to come in here. I'm about to clean all this up. For you, I'm going to clean all this up. You believed in me enough that now I'm going to prove you right, and I'm going to clean all of this up. I don't want the person that I'm about to invest millions into, that I could have picked anybody else, to come in and say, I'll see what I can do. I'll do the best I can. The fuck? I want you to come in here and be like, hey, you made a great decision. Watch, shaking my hand. You made a great decision picking me. I want you to look me in my eyes and say, I was the best investment you made. I want you to look in my face and tell me I'm going to clean all of this up for you. I'm going to fix your franchise. Because if you're not telling me this, I'm going to be right back here again next year. But it's crazy. When Shedeur says this, it's a problem. So let's rewind time and see if you guys gave this other people the same thing that you gave him. You said he was cocky. What is cocky? What is cocky? Well, let's break that down. What is cocky? Because to some people, cocky can be confidence, depending on who you're talking to. Because Jordan knew he was like that, and he told you he was like that, and y'all love Jordan. Like, everybody want to be like Mike. Kobe told you I'm like that. Kobe. Y'all, the Mamba mentality. Kobe told you he was like that. And talked shit in your face and cussed you out. And y'all loved him for it. But that's basketball. Let's stay on football. Cool. Tom Brady talks a gang of shit. A gang of shit. And y'all love him for he has moxie. I've seen Tom Brady yell at players. I've seen Tom Brady yell at coaches. I've seen Tom Brady throw fits on the sideline. I've seen Tom Brady throw helmets. I've seen Tom Brady throw iPads. And you guys say, look at the fire. Look at the fire. True leader, Galvin. But the moment a quarterback that does not look like him and looks like me, we're divas, we have attitude problems, We're uncoachable. But Tom Brady does it, and it's everything else. I don't give a damn if he won or not. That's not the point. The point is we're talking about the attitude that the person is presenting, which is a person of not high character. And you love him for it. But let's go back to the not too long ago, there was a quarterback that instead of doing this, did this. Name is Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel didn't have a good arm. He didn't have a strong arm. He wasn't even super athletic. He'd run a little bit, but he wasn't running like no 4.2, 4.4, 4.5, nothing like that. I bet you. Didn't have a strong arm. Wasn't super accurate. And a lot of times he was saying Mike Evans is down there somewhere and just chuck that motherfucker up. Johnny Football. He's amazing. Look at him go. Still got picked in the first round. And y'all loved him for it. And a lot of teams, a lot of people thought he should have been picked higher than he actually was. Thank God Jerry Jones was smart that day, because a lot of y'all had him picked to go to Dallas. And you have people out there like dumbass Skip saying, oh, this guy's going to be bigger than LeBron in Cleveland. How? I knew back then he wasn't going to be good. But if we're talking about off the field things, not to mention this part of being show-offish, bro was in all type of drugs. Off the field issues galore. And y'all glossed over it. None of that happened with Shedeur. But yet and still, he's cocky. But y'all loved it when it was Manziel. Cool. You said he was cocky. You said he was arrogant. Okay. But then there was a quarterback not too long ago who played for Oklahoma named Baker Mayfield, who not only would cuss you out, grab his genitals, and take the flag and slam it in the middle of your field. And you know what y'all said? Love it. The moxie. The fire. Where's all that cockiness shit then? And again, you took him in the first round, and coincidentally, both were the Browns. But not only that, y'all took him #1 overall. So guess what? I guess all that shit didn't mean anything when it got to him getting drafted. If you're talking about him being cocky, if you're talking about somebody being show-offish and stuff, those are two examples of players being cocky and y'all loving him for it and got picked in the first round. Well, if you pick Shedeur, you know his father's going to be in the way. Deion's going to be all there. Nobody... How cocky would it have been? I'm not even better. Deion, I think he was on Oprah or something, some talk show. And Deion was saying, that's my son. if he goes to a place that we do not believe that the organization is not going to take him serious and not put him in a position to win, we're probably going to veto it. A lot of y'all, oh, what the how dare he? Mind you, he's a Hall of Famer, been in the business for years, coached, and is arguably the best player ever to play cornerback. And a Hall of Famer. And he said, why wouldn't I? That's my son. And you shitted on Deion and you shitted on Shedeur for his father. But yet again, there was another quarterback named Eli fucking Manning, who is not better than fucking Shedeur at any time in his in his career in college. Not to mention, no one has ever raved about Eli Manning's arm. Right now, watch this. This is so crazy. Right now, today, I believe Eli is a Hall of Famer. 4-time Pro Bowler. He's in the all-time books as a Giant, in the NFL as passer. He has 2 Super Bowls. He has 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Even though he has 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 4-time Pro Bowler, a lot of y'all say, I don't know, he ain't never been one of the top 5 quarterbacks, which I agree. He ain't never had a good-ass arm like that, which I agree. He was carried a lot, which I agree. Y'all say he don't deserve to be in no Hall of Fame because he does not possess the arm talent and he was not that good. But going back to his college years, the same thing that y'all talk shit about with Shedeur and Deion, Eli did with his dad, who is not even in the same stratosphere as fucking Deion as a player. Even though they played 2 positions, Deion plays cornerback better than Archie ever played quarterback. And he got picked number 1. Shedeur could have been the last pick of the draft and been happy with it. Bro got picked number 1. And again, y'all was mad when Deion said, hey, if we don't like where we going, we might veto it. Y'all was mad that he said that. How dare he? Eli was picked number 1. A lot of people's dream. He was picked number 1 and held his jersey up like he was an inmate. Mad as hell. Bro, you just got picked number 1 to play in the NFL. Because he got picked by the team that he said he didn't want to go to, which was San Diego. Because him and his family thought they wasn't running a good ship over there. And how dare you want to go to a good situation? How dare you see a situation where, at least if you're playing for a bad team, you see that they got the structure in there to where we have a vision in mind to where, hey, we know we trash right now, but we do have a vision in place to a team where it's like, we're going to pick you number 1. We ain't really got no plan, but we're really just trying to sell these tickets out so we can get paid. We don't give a fuck. Wow, so you care about where you go because you want to make a legacy. You want to play for some championships. And at that time, that was their reason why they didn't want to go to San Diego. Mad as hell. Number 1 pick. New York Giants end up picking Phillip Rivers, They end up swapping picks. Phillip Rivers goes from New York to San Diego. Eli goes from San Diego to New York. Now he's holding up a New York Giant, and he's in all smiles. And no one said a goddamn thing about it. For years, no one said shit about it. And if they did, it quickly went away. How dare Shedeur and Deion? What? And that's what I said. This is not me just saying how trash of you guys, not only the NFL is, not only the coaches are, but you as some of you guys that are watchers of the NFL and fans, you guys are trash too. Because you guys have repeatedly told me why you don't like Shedeur, and I've shown you in without leaving anything out, because a lot of people will leave certain things out to prove their point. I'm not leaving nothing out. And you guys have hypocritically picked either the worst or at least the same or worse and have picked it over Shedeur. We don't like his dad interfering in shit. Eli's dad interfered in shit. We don't like his football we don't like his football traits. We don't like his arm talent. But then you pick Gabriel and fucking Tyler. We don't like that he went to fucking Jackson State. Cool. Leaves You'll never win in the D1. That's Jackson State. That's FCS. They're not playing nobody. He could throw for 5,000 yards. That ain't the same playing the FBS. That ain't playing for a good conference. He'll never do that. Goes to the conference. It's the offensive player of the year of that conference. It's the second team All-American. Wins the Johnny Unitas Award. Breaks records for a school. And has the best accuracy in all of college football. Time and time again, all he did was prove y'all wrong. Time after time after time after time and time again. All he did was prove you wrong. You said he couldn't do something, and he did it. You say you didn't like him for this, but then pick somebody who was worse or did the same exact thing. Hypocrites. If you said, I don't like Shedeur, I would respect you so much more if you just came out and said you didn't like him. I would respect you so much more if you said, I don't like Shedeur. Because at least I know, no matter what he does, you just don't like him. While I would think you're wrong, I would respect you because at least I know where you stand. But then when you sit there and tell me all the things that you don't like about him, and then you pick somebody that's worse than him, now you're a hypocrite, and now I have to question your character. Well, I don't like LeBron. All he does is bitch for calls. Jordan bitched too. A lot. Oh, Jordan, he didn't take on he had, these teammates. So did fucking Jordan. Oh, LeBron flops. I know y'all don't want to look at the tapes, but so did fucking Jordan. So if you just come out and say, I don't like LeBron, cool. I'll respect you for at least coming out and saying it, but don't come out here and act like you're just a straight journalist and just want to put out the facts. When everything you say you don't like about LeBron, Jordan did it too. Everything you're saying you don't like about Shedeur, there's been quarterbacks in the past or even in the same draft class who is just as bad or worse, and you still took them. This is why when it comes to like R. Kelly, there's a lot of people that talk about how bad R. Kelly was. And if you're one of the people that say that R. Kelly is a bad person and needs to be thrown under the jail and doing this to underage girls, blah, 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 cool. No problem. But don't sit here and drag R. Kelly. But then celebrate Elvis fucking Presley when it has been documented that he was fucking with underage girls, and y'all have not canceled him. Y'all still refer to him as the king of rock and roll or whatever the fuck. They make documentaries about him more than once, and he's still held into such high regards. You guys are so damn wrong. And all I have done is speak facts. You don't like his arm. You don't like that he holds the ball too long. You don't like his family involvement in things. But yet and still, there are people who had worse arm, worse talented arm, did not have a strong arm, had family issues, had personal issues, played on better teams, worse records, worse numbers, and then not pick Shedeur. If Shedeur was the second quarterback taken and he was still taken in the 5th round, as much as it would have sucked him being take that low, at least I know he was still the second quarterback taken, and you guys were saying, hey, while we don't think that he's that good, if the bar is set here and everybody else is reaching here, at least I know for a fact you guys stayed true to saying that he was not that good. Because if he slips from the 1st to the 5th, because you didn't think that his talent was that good, and he was the only quarterback taken from here to here, while I have a problem with him being taken that low, at least the consensus would be that they did not like Shedeur in his game. But that is not the fact. The fact is that there were multiple quarterbacks taking over him, and they were older than him. They were way more trashier in better situations, and still didn't put up better numbers than him, and they still won less than him. That doesn't make sense. The girl that says she don't like black men and doesn't like men and doesn't like black men, and then 5 minutes later talks to a man that's darker than me, uglier than me, and is a man, makes no sense. You saying that you don't like that the fact that a father could be in a child's life like that because he needs to be a man and get out his father's shadow, and he needs to be grateful for wherever he gets taken at, and he shouldn't be pushing teams away, and you pick somebody anyway. You did it to Eli. You said that he was too flashy, just throwing up the wrist and too cocky, but yet and still, people like Johnny Manziel was a first rounder. Red Still Manziel was still a first rounder. Yet still Baker Mayfield was grabbing his nuts, telling people to fuck you. He was telling teams, fuck you. Grabbing his nuts. And then take this flag, which a lot of people consider disrespect, to throw it in the middle. He did that. Cocky. Arrogant. Loved it. Moxie. Then, when a player has so much confidence to tell you, hey, the best decision you could ever do is pick me. And I'm going to make everybody else pay if you don't pick me. How we forgot who the fuck Josh Rosen is. Oh, I didn't forget you, Josh. Oh, I didn't forget you. You were picked in the first round to the Arizona Cardinals out of UCLA. And you walked that stage at, I think you got picked 9th or 10th, still top 10 in the first round, and you was hot because you thought you should have been number 1. And you said, I'm finna make all these teams pay. How cocky for him to say something like that? How cocky is it for him to tell, all the other teams made a mistake, a giant mistake, and I'm going to make all y'all pay? How cocky is for him to say that? Who knows where Josh Rosen is today? My thoughts exactly. Hypocrites, hypocrites, hypocrites. That's the problem. Y'all say one thing for one guy, and then I show you multiple times without missing a beat, with better stats, with less around him, with less coaching pedigree, win more games, throw for more yards, with better accuracy and more touchdowns. And then, for some people to sit there and actually talk shit about him, when the man has done nothing wrong, bro, but have confidence in himself. When did having confidence become a bad thing? If I think I'm the shit, I think I'm the shit. I have to now prove that. But you're not even allowing me to prove that. And if I am coming to your team, you should want me to want to prove myself. Because if I prove what I say I am, I now am a playoff contender, a championship contender team, which I'm sure you want. Now he has to be humbled? Where was this talk with Johnny Manziel need to be humble? Where was this talk with Eli needing to be humble? Where is this talk with Baker Mayfield need to be humble? Where is this talk with Josh Rosen need to be humble? Where was this talk at? Now all of a sudden I gotta be humble. But what is being humble? A lot of y'all might not like Deion Sanders. But if I took a prime Deion Sanders and you guys were saying, hey, I got all these corners you can choose out of the history of football, I guarantee you Deion is on a lot of y'all teams. Because he was actually what he said he was. And he told teams, I don't even know why you talking to me. You not even high enough to get me. I would call that arrogant. I would actually call it confidence. But if y'all want to call it arrogant, he stood on that. And a lot of you guys today would still pick him to be on your team. There's no way if I told you, hey, pick your all-time lineup, and you had 3 corners to pick out of, he's not at least your third corner. A lot of times he'd be your first corner, but he's not going out of number 3. There's not 3 corners better than Deion Sanders in the history of football. In the history of football, there are not 3 corners better than Deion. I don't care if there's Charles Woodson. I don't care if it's Champ Bailey. I don't care if it's Richard Sherman. I don't care if it's Rod Woodson. I don't care if it's Darrelle Revis. There are not 3 corners better than Deion Sanders. the swag that he brought, the attention that he brought, because he brought a lot of mainstream attention to your team. And that was unheard of, especially from a cornerback. With a 4.2, 4.1 40, locked your favorite receiver down, picked it off, sometimes played punt returner, kick returner, returned it in flare, brought more butts in your chair, played a little bit of receiver. Oh, and by the way, won your Super Bowls. He was one of the first mercenaries in football because he played with the Niners, won him a Super Bowl. The very next year, Dallas gets him and he wins another one. Ain't no way, bro. You guys are hypocrites. And like I said, this is not... Name me one point where I lied at. Tell me one part where I'm not telling the truth at. Because again, like I said, there are some people that will not tell everything to get the point across. And trust me, I see it all the time. And they tell half truths. And they want you to be okay with settling. Stephen A. does it all the time. And I wish one day that I'm on ESPN and I get to debate him at least about the LeBron James. Because he always says, you guys act like it's a problem that I put LeBron number 2. He's still number 2. This is the thing about me. If you pay me a penny less than what I am earned, you've disrespected me. I don't care if you pay me $9,900,999.99. If I am owed $10 million, damn it, give me my penny. Because if it wasn't that big of a deal, you would just put me there. You would just give me my penny. But people, I never put me where I'm not deserving to be put. I don't even care if it's one position lower. If I am owed 10 million, give me 10 million. If I am number 1, I do not care if you put me number 2. It is still disrespectful. If any of you guys said Tom Brady's not number 1, it's Joe Montana. A lot of you guys would be like, that's disrespectful. But hold on, wait a minute. I just said he was number 2. I mean, that's still a good play. Y'all be like, no, he's not 2. He's 1. Same thing. If LeBron is number 1, I can still be mad that you rate him 2 because he's not 2, he's 1. But if your argument should be, you shouldn't be mad out of the history of the NBA, you're acting like I said he was 30th. I put him 2. It's still disrespectful because I'm not 2. It is disrespectful for you guys to talk about his family when we've seen people do worse and actually went through with it. Deion didn't even get to go through with his shit. Matter of fact, Deion said if he's going to Cleveland, we might have to. Ain't no way he going to Cleveland. Not to mention, before he even got picked to fucking Cleveland, he was talking about fucking Flacco. I was like, nigga, he my age. And he's going there. Is Deion vetoing it? No. Eli's dad actually helped him veto it. If you're saying that he's flashy, where was that energy for Manziel? Y'all did the finger shit with him while he was throwing 7 picks a fucking game. Just if you say he's cocky, where was that shit for fucking Baker Mayfield? Because all Baker Mayfield did is go to the Browns and fuck it off. Go to the Panthers and be trash. go to LA and be trash, and then go to the fucking the Buccaneers where he's doing somewhat okay. But you have to remember, this is his fourth fucking team, and he was the number one overall, and no one even thought that he shouldn't be number one pick. Even with all the nut grabbing and fuck yous, he still went number fucking one. All I did was point out the facts that you guys said was bad, and I showed you, okay, if you think that's bad, cool, stand on that. Why did you guys pick him? And he did the same, if not worse. You don't like his arm talent? Cool. Why does you guys pick this guy? If you don't like that he pats the ball or holds on to the ball too long, cool. Why did you pick the guy who literally threw the ball like a fucking frisbee? None of it makes sense. If you didn't take Shedeur and you pick somebody better than him, I wouldn't say a goddamn thing. That's why I'm not mad that you said Ward, even though I think Ward is better. I mean, even though I think that Shedeur is better. If you picked Ward, fine. He he led the league in touchdowns, I believe. I think he led the league in yards. He played for Miami. He had a better record. Fine. Gabriel, Tyler, Monroe. While their teams on their roster with a fucking Derek Carr. While there's people on a roster that the Steelers ain't got nobody. Come on, man. That doesn't make any sense. I am prepared to be wrong about Shedeur, but nobody can actually say anything that makes sense, because even if you tell me everything wrong with his game, I'll say, cool. He still was the most accurate, still threw 37, still threw 44,000, still was second team All-American, still was Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, still was first team, and guess what? Worst talent. And then you guys picked Tyler. And then you guys picked Gabriel. And there's still people with rosters like the fucking Steelers at quarterback. Come on, man. Ain't no fucking way. And y'all gotta stop acting like these GMs and shit know what the fuck they're doing. They pick quarterbacks all the time in the first rounds that become nothing. Literally. The New York Giants said, hey, in all the infinite wisdom and knowledge that we have, we don't think Saquon's worth it. We're going to go through with Daniel Jones. Saquon now is a Super Bowl champion, a top 2 running back, while Daniel Jones is now shipped off to a whole nother team. Stop acting like these niggas know what they're doing. Stop looking at analysts and thinking that they know what the fuck they're talking about. Because for every analyst that said that, Peyton Manning is the next guy up, said that Josh Rosen is next, said that Baker Mayfield is next, said Jamarcus Russell is can't miss, who said Trent Richardson is next up, who said Justin Blackmon was next up, who said Tom Brady wasn't worth it, who said that Dak Prescott isn't a good quarterback, who said, man, they make mistakes too. And like I said, what is an analyst? That's just a fancy name for a guy who gets paid to do what me and you do for free. Because even with all the tapes that they watch and all the film that they watch and the longest they've been in the business, they still sit out here and say, yeah, Tebow's next. Yeah, Josh Rosen, we see something in him. Manziel, he's going to be better than fucking LeBron out here. Brady Quinn, fuck yes. Michael Crabtree, yeah, that's the next Randy Moss. I mean, that's the next Jerry Rice. Justin Blackman, hell yeah. Just because they got a title in front of them don't mean that they know more than you. Or doesn't mean that they know better than you. They might know more than you, but don't mean that they know better than you. I've seen these people make egregious fucking call outs. The dude from the Herd, John Cower or whatever his name is, whatever the lead dude from the Herd. I used to watch his show. Then he said something like, LeBron, you've been playing for a long time. We don't need you anymore. It's okay. You can leave now. We got a kid that's going to take over your spot. His name is Ben Simmons. Go look it up. We're fine. We don't need you, LeBron. We got a new guy in town. His name is Ben Simmons. And you have your own show getting paid millions of dollars to say this bullshit with a straight face. The NFL is wrong. You fans are wrong. And y'all should be ashamed of yourself. This has nothing to do with Shedeur Sanders. This is a kiss the ring moment. Shedeur Sanders is the first, at least in the modern era, who's coming in with money. And I don't mean like his parents got money. You know what I'm saying? Not like, Patrick Mahomes came from a rich daddy and stuff like that. And, who else had Kyler Murray had a contract and a rich daddy. Shiloh was making millions before he stepped foot on a football field. It's not like his dad, of course, had millions, but he's the first player to have millions in his own name. So there wasn't he didn't have to come into here like, man, I'll do whatever it takes. Because most players come into the league like, man, I'll do whatever. And that's not humble. That's you playing a role to lower yourself to appease them. And a lot of black people will tell you, whether it's in, a job interview, we a lot of times lower ourselves and make ourselves seem less than, and we say things we would never regularly say, and we sound a way that we would never regularly say because we absolutely need the job. So we lower ourselves and we become what we feel that you want us to be in order to get the job. We talk in a certain way. I wish I could just talk regular, but now I have to talk with if my voice is, a little bit more deeper, that might scare you. That might intimidate you. So I got to bring my voice a little bit up here to let you know I'm non-threatening. Even if I have nice, locks that I got just recently done, lined up nice. There was a point in time you guys didn't want people who had locks in their hair. because for some reason you thought it was unclean, unhygienic, unprofessional. So now I gotta cut my hair to appease you. I might have tattoos on my arms, but I can easily cover that up. But if you see a little tattoo like on my wrist or something, and I'll be wearing a whole, you know what I'm saying, long sleeve shirt, but I could do the what job really well. Well, me having a tattoo is a problem? Me having my hair a certain way is a problem? So now I have to come in here dressed the way you think is right instead of me having the qualifications that actually would make your team, your job a better place. And black, that is something I for a fact can say because I have lived it. I have to sound less threatening. I have to look less threatening. I have to look clean to what you feel is clean. And a lot of y'all would say, why does he bring it? Because guess what? Unfortunately, everything in this life, from food, from housing, from school, from work, to jobs, to professional, sports, all in some way or fashion has seen racism. They told you if you were black, you couldn't play this sport. If you were black, you couldn't play this position. If you're black, we're going to make your house more expensive. And then we took that same house and we put a white person in it. It was less expensive. And then you want to look at me and say, hey, don't put race into it? Why? When that is a reality. And there's still people out here to this day who use the hard ER. You probably don't hear it because you're not black. And me, the guy that I am, who always talks about black people, we need to get it together. I still hear the hard ER. I still, in 2025, have seen bosses get fired because they found out that the boss was racist or said a racist slur. The KKK literally just got a highway or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Or petitioned to get a highway, or they got a highway. And then y'all always want to talk about race? We weren't allowed to go to the same school as y'all. Well, how would that feel if, why we always talk about race? You know what I'm saying? How would you feel if you couldn't go to this school? We couldn't at one point. Y'all told us not to go to the same school as you. So we had to make our own school so we could get some education because you guys didn't want to teach us. You told us you didn't want us riding the same buses as you. You told us you didn't want us playing the same sport as you. You told us that you didn't want to feed us the same food as you. You said you didn't want to be seen in public with us. This is not lies. This is stuff that has happened, and in current 2025 is still being said to us. Just because you don't hear it as much doesn't mean it's not being said to us still. Because I can tell you that it is still being said till this day. It's still being said. Just because you don't hear it as much doesn't mean it's not being heard. And I used to mess with this dude. And like I said, if y'all knew how much I be wanting black people, and I tell black people a lot of times that we be fucking up, I used to listen to I listen to a lot of Republican stuff. And because I think that, the left has done a lot of goofy shit. And I think that both parties have some good and both parties have some bad. But I think his name is Christian. I forgot what his name is. It's Kirks or something. Let me see. Um, what is his name? Is it Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk. That's his name. I followed him on Instagram. And because a lot of the talking points that he did make up about, America, about, even black people, I was like, these are hard hitting truths that no matter if it's coming from a white dude or a black dude are true. And a lot of black people do not like, what's the word? They don't like when people tell the truth about them, right? Even if it's bad. And I've always been a person to be like, black people, we fucking up. We can't expect people to respect us. We killing each other. And we rapping about sex, murder, and drugs all the goddamn time. And then we sad when a cop kills us, but then 6, 7 people would have been killed just in this week and nobody said anything. You know what I'm saying? But when he started talking about, well, there are more black people in jail because black people commit more, do more crime. I was like, what? That's when I was like, okay, I agree. Black people, you can't be mad and you go to jail if you out here killing, stealing, destroying, selling drugs and stuff like that. But to sit there and say that we do it more, no, because there's plenty of times white people have done something and they don't get booked for it. There's plenty of times that white people do the same exact crime and they get booked severely less time. So for you to come out there and say, oh, well, the reason why there's more black people in jail is because more black people commit crime, that, sir, is a bold-faced fucking lie. Now, I admit that some of those black people put that did it to themselves. Nobody made you sell that crack. Nobody told you to do them drugs. Nobody told you to sell them drugs. Nobody told you to shoot and kill nobody. Nobody told you to rob nobody. But the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of white people who get off on the same type of crimes and are not in jail for the same type of crime that the person did that was black and got severely less time or not even booked at all. So that's complete bullshit. But again, when people talk about race, and why do we all talk about it? Because everything that we have ever happened in life, in some way or fashion, race has played a part in it. And if you're not black, you don't understand. Just like I can say, I don't understand cramps. I don't understand them. I don't understand how they can change your mood. But guess what? I had a father in my life that taught me about women's bodies and how they are, how they react to things and stuff. And I had a mother who told me that. So even though I have never and will never experience them, I am more understanding to when they tell me, hey, I'm hurting. Oh, I don't feel good. I'm in pain. I'm more understanding and empathetic to them because while I'll never have to deal with that, I now am in tune of that what happens to you. So now I am more understanding when these things happen. So then when you flash at me and you get angry at me, I know for a fact, while you shouldn't be doing that to me, I am more understanding in why it happens to me. Because guess what? A lot of you guys will have daughters later along in life. Some of you guys will be blessed to have a girlfriend, a wife. So even though some of their problems you'll never experience, once you are aware of their problems, you are now more empathetic to their problems. And not saying, well, that I've never dealt with it. It can't be as worse as a fucking ankle sprain or that's some dumbass shit to say. And that's one of the things that we lack in America and maybe in the whole world today. We lack empathy. We don't have to come from the same background for me to understand that your way was not as easy or the same as my way. I shouldn't feel bad about coming up in my way, but I can still understand that maybe coming up in your way, I would have not seen success or been as the same way as you did as if I was in your shoes. But we lack so much fucking empathy. And we all think that we're all given the same type of opportunities and we're all looked the same way. If we just put our head down and work hard, we could be whatever the fuck you know, because in any fucking field you have to be accepted in. That means somebody has to tell you if you're worthy or not. If I have straight A's in school, someone still has to accept me. If I have the knowledge of a job, somebody still has to hire me. If I built something by myself, somebody still has to back me, help put their money and invest in me. No matter what you do in life, someone has to believe in you. And if that person lacks empathy and sometimes only sees one version, even if you're good, they will not even see past this. That's a fact. And the world will tell you that, hey, we're getting better at this, which we are. I will never sit here and act like I have the same problems as my parents and my parents' parents and my parents' parents' parents had. I'd be a fool to sit here, and a lot of people act like that. We don't. But to sit here and act like my path is just the same as yours, you're a complete fucking fool. Don't feel bad that your dad is rich. And you live a easier lifestyle. So you can now, money is not so much of a problem, so now you can focus on a career or do what you want to do. But understand that some kids don't have a rich daddy. And a lot of the things that could have been a possibility is not that much of a possibility because of the surrounding things that's happening around them. And yes, sometimes it's still their fault for making bad decisions, but guess what? Some of the things that were placed in front of them were never placed in front of you. That's why you can look at, T.I., one of his sons, and they look at him like, bro, is this boy crazy? Yo daddy rich. We seen you when you was a kid. Damn near a baby. Grew up in a nice house. Rich. Money. Drove cars that none of us would even test drive. And then be acting like you from the hood still? People in the hood trying to leave the hood to live where you living. Shit, like, what are we doing? Shedeur Sanders is 23 years old. Everything that has happened to him was sick, unjustifiable, and wrong. I don't care what you say. Because again, if he was the second quarterback taken and he was the first quarterback taken in the fifth round, from Ward to him, and he was, while I think that he was not a fifth rounder, you guys are basically saying you guys don't need quarterbacks. and was nobody better than him. Fine. But the fact of the matter, when y'all took Dart, I was like, I don't think Dart is better than him, but guess what? There's still some more quarterback needy teams. The fact that you guys all passed on him and then pick somebody that was worse than him, bullshit. Y'all didn't like Shedeur Sanders because he didn't need y'all. Most people coming to the NFL need y'all. He had NIL money. His daddy rich. He's good. He is playing football for the strict love of playing football. He doesn't need to. He wants to. But the NFL wants you to want to. The NFL wants you to need them. And if anybody knows in a relationship, if you need somebody, that's a problem. Because now the relationship has become one-sided, and that means that somebody in a relationship is not carrying their end of the bargain. When you have a woman that needs a man, well, not need a man, but like she can't do nothing without her. Like she can't cook, she can't clean, she's not working. That's a bad relationship on because at the end of the day, he's gonna know that you need me, so he might use that to his advantage and treat you any type of way because he know you ain't leaving. I can slap her up, I can call her all types of names. She's not going to what she needs me because without me, she's nothing. There isn't another NFL. The USFL, the Arena League, all that, there is no other league. I'm a wrestling fan. When you didn't like fucking WWF back in the day, you can go to WCW. You can go to ECW. You can go to NWA. When WWE bought out WCW, ECW, people stayed with WWE, WWF because they had to, because there was no other option. So Vince was telling you to do whatever, and you had to, because guess what? If you did it, you would get fired, and there was nowhere else for you to go. But now there's TNA, Impact Wrestling, there's Japan, there's AEW, and there's other places that are not as big as those, but you can still make a decent living. So now, if you say you gone, you could proudly walk out that door. But if you need them, they'll treat you any type of way because they know you need. When most of these black athletes that come to these teams, they are coming from impoverished families. Multiple brothers and sisters. Mama had to work 4-5 jobs. Dad had to work 4-5 jobs. Dad is dead. Dad is not in his life. Mom is dead. Mom is sick. Family is sick. Family needs money. So they need the money to help them. So whatever it takes for me to get in here, I'll say what I need to say. I'll do what I need to do because at the end of the day, I have to provide. Deion got money. His daddy's straight. His daddy ain't on drugs. His family is straight. His brothers got money. Because I know Shiloh got some NIL. Not probably near as much as Shedeur, but he's a Sanders. He got money. And then he got another brother that does like the filming and stuff like that. He got chains on and stuff. He got money. So he's not coming to a situation where I need you. Doesn't mean that he's coming disrespectful because he's like, I don't need y'all. But he's coming more of in the situation where I can breathe a little bit. I can be me. I don't have to be something you want me to be. I can be myself. And if you want me, but take me for me. And I couldn't ask for anything more as an owner that you be real with me because I am investing in you. I'm investing my franchise in you. You are going to be the face of my franchise. I would rather you be real as hell with me so I can make an authentic choice. Because what I would hate to do is you give me somebody fake. I invest all my money into you, and now you're a serial fucking, beating old women, or a serial fucking gambler, or you know what I'm saying, you had a drinking problem and shit. Like, come to me as you are. That says that's in the Bible. Come to me as you are. Because even if you have a problem, if I'm going to invest in you, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to help you with that problem. Okay, you have a drinking problem? You're a hell of a talent. Thank you for telling me what you really are. All right, I understand that maybe I'll put you with a veteran who also had a drinking problem and beat it. Maybe you can chill out with me, and on days that you're free and to keep you out of trouble, you come over here. Maybe I'll sign you up for an anonymous, you know what I'm saying, AA meeting or something. You know what I'm saying? If I'm investing in you, tell me the real, tell me what's happening so I can help. But if you being fake to me and I don't think there's a problem, how can I help? Now you've cost me millions of dollars. There's been plenty of times where people have come in. Jamarcus Russell came in. He wanted his money. It didn't take until he actually got fucking fired years down the line when he's trying to make a fucking return. Oh, I had drinking problems. I had this problem. Well, fuck. If you tell me this in the beginning, now I know your problem. I can help. Because at the end of the day, I'm investing in you. And I want my investment to, bring me back. My investment and more. But like I said, man, everything that y'all have said about Shedeur is wrong. It's false. It's one-sided. In nowhere, shape, or form can you justifiably tell me what you're saying about Shedeur and then pick the opposite of what you just said. There was a problem with Shedeur. This was a kiss the ring moment. You guys do not like the flamboyant. You guys do not like that he does not need you. You do not like a black man feeling like he does not need you. You don't like that this black man came in here with flair. You do not like a black man with confidence. You don't like I'm going to say that again. You guys do not like a black man with confidence. You don't. Because I can show you a white guy who did exactly the fucking same and you guys loved it. You ate it up. And a black man does it and you guys fucking shit on it. So this isn't a Shedeur problem. This is a you problem. Because there's nothing that you can actually say that makes any type of sense when it comes to Shedeur. And then pick and then have the picks that you guys had. Makes no sense. So again, congratulations to Shedeur. Congratulations to to the Sanders family. I believe that the Browns, while they passed on him many times, I believe they have their finally QB of the future. I also believe that Tom Brady, being his mentor, they now have something else in common. Because Tom Brady was picked in, I believe, the 6th round. And he became this all-world guy and changed the trajectory of not only the Patriots, but on how we look at certain players. I now look at Shedeur, and now if Shedeur ends up being the player that I think he is going to be, and he makes the Hall of Fame and all this other stuff, man, does he now have a great story to tell? Overlooked, talk, and not only that, I have to mention this too. The fact of the matter, he got that prank call. I thought that was sick too. This doesn't happen to nobody else. This doesn't happen to no one else. Y'all acting like this man just spit on a kid or something. The boy has confidence. And then the fact that he had a number that he only gave out to NFL coaches, for that to get leaked and call his number and disrespect him like that, bro. Y'all have some problems. Y'all have some deep rooted problems that y'all need to figure out. Y'all have some deep rooted problems. And like I said, for the people who do not like him, you guys gotta grow up. Because you're gonna see more Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders was the first, but you're gonna see a lot of more cocky guys coming out, doing some dance you probably don't like, flexing some type of jewelry that you don't like, but talent is undeniable. Stop being a hater. That man was played, disrespected in front of millions. And you want him to be humble? A lot of y'all don't know what humble is. A lot of you guys don't know what confidence is, because you know what? A lot of y'all didn't grow up with your dad. So I get it. I understand. And this, I'll talk about empathy. I'm empathetic towards you guys because I grew up with my father. My father was inside my house all the time, and he instilled in me courage, confidence, belief in myself over all. And one thing that my dad said, and I'm going to end it on this. He said, who are you going to believe? The creator or the creation? The creator said you can do all things. The creation said you do this, you do that, you'll never amount to anything, you're not good enough. But he created this. And he told you you can do all things. He said you are perfect the way you are. He said he knew you before you were even a thought in this world. I choose to believe the creator rather than I believe the creation. So like I said, Shedeur, I know for a fact you finna not only be QB1 in due time, when you do become QB1, you are not going to look back. People are going to want to come to your team because a lot of people don't want to go to Cleveland. You are going to change that franchise around and have a Cam Newton-like type of aura. And people are going to flock to you. You will become, if you are able to, play as much as I feel like you're going to play, you will become Rookie of the Year. I see multiple Pro Bowls in your name. I see multiple All-Pros in your name. I see Cleveland now being a destination of free agents. and I see a championship in your name. And when it's all said and done, I see a gold jacket waiting. And your dad ushering you in into the Pro Football Hall of Fame where you guys both unveil your bust. That's what I see for you. And amongst all the haters that say that you're not this and you're not that, I'm telling you from day one, not only are you going to do this, I believe in you. I believe in your plan. And I believe in your testimony. Because one thing is, you cannot have a testimony without a test. They played in your face. And with grace and humility, the one thing that said you didn't have, you said, thank you for the opportunity. I'm coming here to work. Somebody who does not have humility would not say that. They would have said, what took you so long? I ain't going. But somebody with humility, even though you played in their face and told me multiple times that I was not good enough, because they showed you and told you that you was not good enough because they passed you multiple times over. And you said, you know what? That was then. Here is now. Thank you for the opportunity. Let's get to work. You'll be QB1 and sooner than you think. And like I said, you got a fan in me. And as far as this household, we're going to be looking out for Shedeur. We're going to be looking out for Shiloh. So, like I said, y'all got to do better in this world on how you treat young men, how you treat each other, how we look and how we evaluate each other on a professional and on a personal level. Because even though you guys have time don't know what the hell you guys are talking about, because you guys are in a position to reach many ears, you guys can influence a lot of people on how they feel about a certain player or a certain person. So please understand your power and use it better. Use your voice better. If you don't like somebody, it's cool for you not to like them, but do not shit on them so they are untouchable by other people. That's cowardly. That's cowardice. If I don't like you, I'm just not going to talk. I'm not going to talk about you. I'm not going to touch you. I'm not going to be around you. But what I'm not going to do is, because I don't like you, going to talk so bad about you to where no one else wants you. That's garbage. This boy is innocent. He hasn't committed a fucking crime. And how you talk about him, you would have sworn he had fucking baby puppies out here fucking fighting each other, going against fucking alligators or something. Y'all wrong. And y'all need fucking help.